This is The Author's Perspective, TAP, a show set to take you behind the scenes of some of your favorite books. We will be delving into deeper conversations and let you get to know different authors whilst discussing some of the social issues affecting them. We are RM Publishers. Join us as we take you on this literary journey. Let's step right into it.
Welcome, Tawonga, to the Author's Perspective podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be. It's good to be on the author's perspective.
How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm not too bad. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Well, thank you so much for sending us your piece called This Generation. Do you want to maybe introduce yourself and tell our audience who you are and what you do?
All right. So to everybody listening, hi, my name is Tavonga. I go by TAV, and I am a spoken word artist as well as a poet and a writer. And I've been writing since I was fresh out of diapers and doing poetry, doing poetry from as young as I can remember. But I think of late, I have been trying to find myself and find different ways to use my talent for more than just, um, expression in the sense of childish games. So without any meaning. So I think I'm just on my journey of finding myself right now as a
Oh,
writer.
great. Talking about talent,
Yes.
the this generation piece is
Mhm.
very inspired.
Oh,
Do you
thank you.
want to tell us a bit more about it and what inspired you to write it?
All right. So as a writer, I think a lot of writers who listen will relate that inspiration is very easy to come by, but it's
Mm,
very hard to draw from. So you can really be inspired by the simplest of things, but to express it, there are, when you get into writing, you find out that there are very limited words that can be used when it comes to describing how you feel about something. So with this piece, this generation, it was more of speaking for people as the people themselves. So it was likening my experiences, my journey, the things I've seen, the things I've experienced, and also trying to connect it to what everybody else is going through. I have a saying that a lot of my friends argue with. I say, in this life we live in, we are just living different stories. So this piece was just trying to highlight the struggles, the successes, the journey we all go through. It may not be the same in the beginning, but at one point we all experience, I think, some of the things I speak about in this piece.
Oh, awesome. So let's listen. Our audience have got a real treat today because we have the original with us. So we're going to take a listen and then come back to talk about it in 2 seconds.
All right, no problem.
This generation grew up with our parents but never raised by them. Instead, we grew beside the image of the neighbor's perfect child, found ourselves in their shadow, and as our parents shined the light on them, our silhouettes become defined, so they didn't actually compare us. They just made the examples more distinct. So we grew outside but became stunted internally. Knew that when we were called back inside, that was the final call, to collect your belongings and bear through the storm. We are a generation of children that grew up playing Nombo, to prepare ourselves for when we took a swipe at life and everything fell apart. Tagarero nemiti nemapatapata, so we could walk in the footsteps of our forefathers, become rooted in the wrongs of our culture like trees destined to be cut off. We didn't know our place in our history. They never told us, but they always feared that we were growing up just to try everything they did again. We are the same generation that screams Zimbabwean lives matter, but selectively chooses when to put on our identity. We are battling over which side should be in control. Dai zvainzi kuzataura rurimi rwamai zvaikupa mufaro. I would understand why so many of us choose to use the "I don't come from the ghetto, but I secretly speak Shona," because I don't want to be openly labeled as Mwana Yopa Ghetto. In our selectiveness, we become slay queens and trappers. We've trapped the beating heart of Africa out of our bodies and into the streets. I guess it explains why so many of us are in those streets. We are trying to salvage the last of a slaying culture. A generation that lost its purpose in meaningless captions, trying to picture every moment so that it could be liked by people hollower than ourselves, made ourselves believe that that's not validation, just a way of getting instant verification. We have become social stereotypes, screaming get help but posting like everything's fine. Because we as humans have developed a skill where we know what the other person requires, but never seem to give ourselves what we need. We are the last of a dying breed. We are that generation.
Okay, so that's really amazing. So you're the generation of Nodo. do you, do you want to tell our audience what Nodo involves or what it is?
So, for those that didn't get the privilege of playing this very interesting game, Nodo was where you took a mound of sand and you basically made it into like an ant hill of sorts. So
Mm,
you put a stick in the middle, like at the very top, at the peak of the summit, and then with how you guys could be like 10, as many as you want, and you
mm,
guys would use your index finger to try
mm.
swipe down the mount. So you just be swiping down the pieces of sand. And the fun part is you shouldn't let the stick fall down. So whoever
Okay.
let the stick fall, you would get chased around and you get beaten for like a little short space of time and would come back and play again. So it was fun in that you didn't know when the stick would fall, you didn't know who would tip it over, you didn't know. So that really kind of made you aware. One, it also made you quick on your feet because
Mhm.
you had to outrun people, and it also made you tolerate a certain amount of pain. So yeah, you'd find humor in what a lot of people would find painful. So
Yeah.
that's normal, basically.
Okay, well, that's totally different from how we used to play it.
Really?
Obviously, generational differences.
How did you guys used to play it? Let's
It's
hear
just
this.
really around. Okay, you take a chalk, you
Hmm.
draw on the ground, you
Okay.
put you put stones inside the round drawing,
Hmm.
and basically you just play out until the stones inside have all gone outside. That's
I think
like
that was Nodo. That was Nodo, not
oh,
Nombo.
so it's different
Yes. Yes,
from
it's
no.
different
Okay.
from Nombo.
Ah, I
But yes, we are
see.
still the
Okay.
generation that played Nodo. We played Nodo as well, you know?
Ah, I thought you were saying no, no.
Oh, Nombo.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh no, I've never actually played Nobo then, because I don't.
Really?
I know.
You
I
missed out.
don't
You
know.
missed out. You definitely missed out on some of the
Ah,
best childhood activities that would.
I was probably stuck indoors mostly. I kept to myself. Right. Oh, great. Thank you for that. So, how
Oh
did
my
you
God.
become a spoken word artist?
That actually needs me to think. So I think in primary I used to do allied arts. So I would do poetry, and then my teacher, Mr. Vambe, taught me prose. So I got into prose, started reading, and I used to love acting. Acting is and was my passion. So I didn't know that there were other forms of poetic expression. And then when I got into high school, I started seeing people say, "I'm going for slam poetry. I'm a spoken word artist," and we bestowed the title upon ourselves. Now I'm a spoken word artist. So we
Mm,
actually sat down and saw some of the greats that I got to fall in love with their work and draw inspiration from. These were KGTR Nele, Lennox, Kuda Rice, Miles Carter. these individuals were just, they were giants. They
Mm,
were giants. And when you sat down and you heard that guys had word, their lyrical ability, their ability, the things they spoke about, they would take simple phrases that
mm,
we knew, and then they would transform them into these deeper messages.
mm,
And I think that challenged me to be like, I need to learn how to do this. So I wrote, I asked people, and yeah, I'm glad for the friends I have. They were very honest with me. There were some times where I needed some brutal honesty that this is not it, man. And I think that built me into the spoken word artist I am today. And
mm,
it helped me really find my footing in the world of spoken word and poetry. So
mm. That's very poetic, Tav.
yeah. See, now it comes naturally. Back
Nah,
then we had to work. We had
I
to work
bet
for it.
it does.
We had to work for it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
would you say that you have a genre of poetry that you stick to, or do you just write anything and recite anything?
I did have a genre. I used to be a very heartbroken young man. I used to
Oh.
write about love, write
Mm-hmm.
about then there was a time when I was really going through some mental problems, and I was really battling mental illnesses, and I started writing about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that the society I live in, the world that we live in, is very fluid, and it takes a very strong individual, strong minded, strong in your belief, strong in your
Mm.
personality to speak up about these things. And I did to defy the the norm of not speaking, of just acting like everything's okay. I
Mm.
started writing. So I think now I don't have a set genre. I write
Mm.
about whatever comes to mind. I write about conversations with people. I can write about the sky itself. I'm very versatile now when it comes to the genre in which I write, but I find joy in writing about everything. You know,
Mm.
I feel like everything is connected. You can write about and happiness in the same piece, and
Mm.
that ability to intertwine it and just make it perfect or imperfect really gives you that sense of reality. And I think that's what I'm going for right now.
No, that's amazing. So, where do people read your poetry? Do you have a book? Do you have a blog? Where can people connect with the poetry?
Oh, so right now, I will not lie, I haven't been as invested in putting out my work because I'm working
Mm.
on a couple projects.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of my work can be found on Instagram. Uh,
Right.
so that is at three underscores dot baker. That's the first account, then Hush Symphonies for the other.
Mm-hmm.
And my YouTube, I've just started being on YouTube and being engaged with the YouTube community. I'm
Yeah.
just TAV, TAV on YouTube. I think those are the main platforms. I do have a collection uh,
Mm-hmm.
that I released, an anthology I released 2 years ago.
Oh,
And
okay.
that is, I think I was actually surprised at how many people have it because it wasn't officially released. But
Uh,
I'm working on releasing that one and then another one somewhere around the 18th. So just stay
oh,
tuned.
of this month.
Yeah, so this month.
Oh,
So
wow,
yeah.
that's really good. Yeah.
So I
Um,
think
I guess a follow-up question would be, is there an EP on the horizon, or
oh
is just go or you're just going to do the writing for now?
that okay. Okay.
I'm
Um,
inspiring you, aren't I?
no, definitely you're giving me ideas. You're giving me ideas right now. Yes, an EP is on the rise. It's on the rise, but right now it's more of finding the perfect audience
Right.
because I'm not gonna lie. you can be very talented, but if you don't have people who appreciate your work or people who question your work, you really will feel like you're not doing much with your gift. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm right now, I'm trying to cultivate my gift. I'm trying to get as many people to listen to me, to talk to me about my work, to say, why did you use this phrasing, or why did you talk about this in particular, why didn't you say this? I'm trying to move towards that as a whole. So an extended playlist is on the way. I think it's, yeah, it's in the beginning, it's in the starting phases right now, but we're working towards it, my team.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
sounds great. So, if somebody was starting out as a spoken word artist, what advice would you give to them?
I would say the best thing is be real to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When we start writing or when we get into poetry, there's this misconception that poetry is mainly about love,
Mm-hmm.
or poetry is used to woo uh, someone you're pursuing romantically, platonically, when it's an expression, it's an outlet. Anything that you find yourself writing is art, and
Mm-hmm.
art is never supposed to be conventional. Art is not supposed to be you drawing inside the line or you trying to be respectful of the next person. Art is respecting yourself and being able to just speak your mind and know that your thoughts have power, and being able to be responsible with that power and speaking above the noise. I think that is the one thing I would just want whoever wants to get into spoken word to just remember, that you are a gift in yourself. You should
Mm-hmm.
learn to harness yourself first before you want to be harnessed by those who want to listen to your work.
Oh, that is amazing advice. Thank you.
My
So,
pleasure.
um, hammering on thoughts have power.
Mhm.
Is it always the things that you as an artist think about? Well, obviously, I guess that you then express in audio form, or whether you write it, or is it like a mixture of whether you've heard things from other people and you think, okay, this is something that I can work with and I want to express myself through ABCD.
I think to be a true artist is to be able to discover art in every single place, every nook and cranny.
Mm,
So interaction, I'm not saying every single person or every single conversation you have is supposed to be taken as an art form. No,
mm,
you can draw inspiration from that. And there are times where you meet an individual, you guys talk, and you find out that what they're going through needs to be said, but then they do not have maybe the platform or the strength to speak out.
mm,
Maybe you can be the medium in which they so when it comes to really getting into it, your thoughts, the people you interact with, your environment, that is where you draw your inspiration from. That is where you get your next story, your next artwork, your next piece.
mm,
Um, so I think it's about being able to know when to see things as art, and also
mm,
knowing when to see things as reality, because there are times when you don't understand really what someone's going through, but you relate to it in some way, and
mm,
instead of giving them the help that they need, you say, I've got my next big thing, and you're leaving someone who's actually suffering. So I think know when to turn off the the art
mhm,
form and the art skill, and know when to put on the intellectual prowess, the getting into it and understanding the individual. So yeah.
mm. Oh, great. Thank you. You just been hitting us with so many phrases, intellectual prowess.
Ah, just exercising the literature jargon, the muscle here.
Yeah, lyrical
Yeah,
ability,
yeah.
slam
Just
poetry. We learned so much today.
just try.
Right. If somebody wanted to hire you, do
Mhm.
you do events?
Yes, I do events. I do events, shows,
Mm-hmm.
podcasts. I'm free to be used as an individual pleases in the artistic world. I'm
And
at your
pe-
service.
and people can just contact you through your Instagram
Yes,
pages
yes.
and
Through my social media platforms, I think I'm one of the few people in the world who just reply instantly and be like, "Hi, how you doing?"
well, which is really helpful because imagine sending someone a message and then they take forever to respond.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just nice to have a response when you need it. So,
True, true.
yeah, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have any last words or do you want to freestyle for us before we
Freestyle.
close?
Okay. Firstly, I just like to just thank a few individuals,
Mm-hmm.
mainly just thank you, Tap, for bringing me on this episode. You guys are actually fantastic. Thank you for
Oh.
seeing the artists in the world up and coming, established, and platforms to just have a voice and just find themselves, because it's very hard to keep going when you feel like no one is understanding you. And then I'd like to thank my team,
Hmm.
Tatenda, Z, uh, my family as well. This, I won't say your names because I have a very large, but and to the followers, thank you guys for listening. And let me leave you guys with just something that you may find in the EP that has been mentioned throughout this episode.
Yay.
Yeah, so this is, I don't have a title for it. If whoever hears this and feels like they may want to give me a title, feel free. Love is blind, love is stupid. Love is you standing in front of a mirror, knowing it is reflecting a game too many people are good at. It is letting faith guide you into following someone with your eyes closed. Love is pain, love is tolerance. Love is your mother shouting at your sister as she braids her hair, but doing a softer touch so she doesn't get hurt. It is leaving food for your sibling even though you are not full, saving something for them even in their absence. Love is sadness, love is joy. Love is remembering your grandmother's cooking and wiping the tears from your eyes as you remember how you would never leave her house hungry. It is going for sleepovers at friends' houses, knowing one day you would grow apart. Love is trying to stay up with your cousins the night before they fly out. Love is an ending, love is kind. Love is loving someone before you learn to, is teaching a broken heart to feel whole by breaking yours apart. Love is loving someone after they are gone, never telling them how you feel because they love someone else as you were loving them. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Tav. Thank you for joining
Ah,
us today, and we wish you
thank
all
you
the
for having
best
me.
with your poetry.
Ah, thank you. God bless.
Okay. Thank
Ah.
you.